Silicon Valley, technology, art, green, and sustainability.
Welcome to Silicon Valley Tech, Art, Green, and Sustainability, SVTAGS.org. Today, I'm very honored to have a young lady with me who's just done incredible work in the last, I don't want to say how many years because I don't want to date you. 20, okay. Ceitci Demirkova, am I pronouncing?
Correct.
Okay, I got a Bulgarian name right. So you traveled here, you moved from another country, you've started nonprofits, you've done some amazing things. Tell us about your history a little bit and who you are.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. Really appreciate it. I always appreciate an opportunity to talk about our organization and what we have been able to accomplish. So I came to the United States from Bulgaria, former communist country, in December 5th, 1994. So I have been here for about 20 years now. And
did you come by yourself?
I came by myself with $100 and 100 words of English. And a big vision.
$100 and 100 words in English.
Yes.
Wow.
So I just had a dream in my heart that I wanted to help as many kids as possible.
And how old were you then?
19.
19, okay.
Yes. So I was 19, just out of high school, studied German in a German high school and didn't speak the language, English obviously, so I got
German
here.
Then, and
I did. I spoke German and Russian under communism and Bulgarian, and so I learned English when I got here.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull up the first slide, which is really, really cute. Tell us what this is. Is this you?
That is me as a baby with my parents, and then at age 3 holding a little ball in my hands. And so it's an interesting situation that when you grow up in Bulgaria and any communist country really for that matter, that most people don't really have any hope, any dignity, any value, and that's my entire upbringing. So to be doing what I'm doing today, starting from that beginning, is really a miracle in itself.
So why is that then? Why do they not?
Because communism really strips you from your identity as an individual and tries to basically equalize everyone on the same level without really able to pursue any dreams or vision. We didn't even know what a dream meant until I came to the States, and I realized everybody here talks about individual dreams and goals, and we didn't have that growing up under communism.
Let's bring the next slide up. And so this is you on the left, and then somewhere there on the right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm on the second row on the right all the way to the wall. Yeah, exactly. On the second step there. And so under communism, we had to wear certain uniforms with a white shirt, a black skirt or a dark blue skirt, and a blue tie when you're up until 3rd grade, and then the tie changes into red tie when you go from 4th until the 12th grade. And it was a representation that we belong to the Communist Party. And so that's our uniform, and we had a little cap.
And so how old were you in the picture on the right?
I was about 7 because that was 1st grade when I first started school.
And then on the left, how old were you?
Probably 6.
6?
So that's
chickens?
Me with the chickens. Yes, I grew up partly in the village, riding the pigs and hanging out with the chickens.
In the right photo, I never even noticed there's a man standing there. It looks like maybe with a cane or a shovel or...
So that actually, on the wall, there are 2 men. You can't see both of them, but those were the founders of the Bulgarian alphabet.
Okay,
yes, it's a painting.
And
they were the founders of the Bulgarian alphabet, came out of Greece and gave us the alphabet, basically.
So you were only 19, a high school degree when you moved here.
Correct.
And you had aspirations to go into ministry then, or no?
I did. I actually, that's the primary reason I came here, to study at Victory Bible College. And I came to Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Oh.
Yes. So I started in Tulsa, landed in New York first, and then caught another flight over to Kansas, and then from Kansas to Tulsa. So I started my journey really being sponsored through one family that were missionaries. They brought me to the States, but then they left, and I was really on my own after that.
And how long were you in Oklahoma then?
6 years. So I
And
went
so
to college for 3.
Was it a culture shock being?
It was huge culture shock.
Yeah.
And the reason was not that I was in school with a culture shock. It was the fact that I was bombarded with so many choices. And under communism at that time, we had no choices. You only go to the store and you buy one type of bread, one type of milk, one type of sugar. You come here, and the first week I was lost in a gas station store because I thought, wow, they have 2 aisles. It's so big. And then I got exposed to Walmart and the mall, and I was completely overwhelmed. So I have this joke that I was...
And sugar, was that something like the candies and stuff you see at the...
Candy, chocolate, anything. I mean, we didn't really have that many choices, maybe like a couple of different varieties. So, yeah.
So tell us, you have 2 organizations, Changing a Generation, and then with your name.
Yes.
Let's pull up the first slide here. Tell us about this organization. Tell us about the slide too. Who is this?
So this is actually one of the first kids that we began to support in Ghana. And the organization really started right after I got here at age 20, by the time I turned 20, with my $100, the 50 that was left from the 100. I really just wanted to start supporting an orphan. So in Bulgaria, I started with $1 supporting 1 child a month, so for $12. And a lot of people sometimes think that they have to have millions of dollars to start something. You really have to start with what's in your hand. And because of the poverty that I grew up in and seeing the lifestyle that the kids had, and then going back to Bulgaria and also to Holland and Sweden and seeing how many of the kids were dispersed from the orphanages and put into trafficking. And in 95, 96, nobody ever talked about trafficking, but the kids were still being sold or under the table taken out of the orphanages. So that's why we started this nonprofit organization, and I partnered with a church that helped me get it going so that we have the nonprofit status. And then we began to add, after a few years, in 2007 and 8, we added Uganda and Ghana into the organization.
So how many children do you think were in need in your home country at that time versus now?
The number really varies because they have estimated 30,000 orphan kids for a long period of time, and that number is still the same. So
in your native
in Bulgaria,
country. Okay.
yes. So Bulgaria is only like 7 million people, so it's not that big. But I know that there is more kids that are actually orphaned. They're just not registered in the system, therefore they're not accounted for. And when you're not accounted within the system, they can be taken out of the country at any moment and nobody knows. So it's very hard to even statistically talk about how many kids are being trafficked or where they're at the moment.
So this is before Russia broke down that you moved here, right?
This is after, actually.
It's after.
It was communism fell, and we were under communism with Russia. So until 1989, and after that we went through the period of changes, economical restructuring, political changes, and then in 94 when I got here, Russia was no longer really a part of what was going on politically in the country, but they were still a part of many electricity, water, different political international
because
connections.
It's so close to where you were.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Bulgaria, Uganda, Ghana,
Yes.
those are the specifically, you started with your home country. How much longer after did you start with the other countries?
So it was a few years later because I spent a little bit of time back in Bulgaria and then I came back to the States. And the way we really even started our work in Africa is because I always had a heart for Africa, even when I lived in Bulgaria before I got to the States. I met some people from Kenya and I fell in love with their culture, and I wanted to write my research paper even in college on Kenya. And I thought, well, I'll go live in Kenya one day. Well, I'm actually here, but now I work in Africa. And it has been a great opportunity to just see how kids in Africa, different lifestyle, completely different culture, can be affected the same way by poverty, by the demeaning of their ability and not having the right resources to pull out their potential. So humanity really functions the same despite of whatever continent they are, and especially children's dignity. When we talk about kids that are on the streets in Africa or kids that are on the streets in Bulgaria, they're suffering the same way. And so we started working with an actually pre-established organization in Uganda that was already sponsoring kids or had kids within the school system there. But
so the church you were helping, did they take a missionary tour there, and then that's how you connected?
It was a different